I'm super excited to bring to you the AIA Austin Homes Tour for 2025. It's on the weekend of the 25th and the 26th of October. If you're coming to Austin or you live in Austin and you love architecture, this is a tour you shouldn't miss. Now, if you want to listen to this series on the podcast or watch it on YouTube, please do, and understand that I have each of the architects presenting the homes that they have on the tour this year. So there's 10 architects, plus I have Rob Gomez and Ingrid Spencer, who are also commenting on these homes. Now, Rob has photographed every one of them, and Ingrid is the director of the AIA Austin. These two are super knowledgeable and add really beautiful insight to what these homes are about from observers who aren't architects. So please tune in, listen, ask comments, and book a ticket and come on tour and see each of these homes over the weekend, 25th, 26th of October 2025. Look forward to seeing you there. I'm really excited about this home that Ravel Architecture, Daniel and Alex are bringing to the tour. Now, it's called Casa Colibri, and I happen to know that in Spanish that means hummingbird house, which I think is fabulous. I absolutely love it when a home speaks to the nature around it. Guys, welcome to Talk Design and welcome to this AIA Tour Series special.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
It's been a blast just chatting to you so far. It's like I feel like we've been around for 100 years together.
Yeah,
I want
it's
to
a turn
kick.
deep conversation.
It is. I want to kick
Yeah.
off with just a bit about you guys. Like, where did you come from? How did you end up doing what you do? Why architecture? Give me the background. You can choose who goes first.
Alex, you go first.
Well, I've always been a big fan of drawing and traveled a lot when I was younger. I've seen a lot of things that always got me very excited to experience new buildings, different places, and I love to draw, so I felt like it was a good combination. And eventually found my way to UT here in Austin and went to architecture school here, which is actually where I ended up meeting Dan, and we've eventually become business partners together and have been for, I don't know, 15 years or so.
Yeah,
Yes, or
nice.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But are you a native Texan? Is that where you came from originally?
I'm not. I was born in Canada, but my
Oh,
mother's Swiss, so kind of brought me over to Europe a number
yeah.
of times, and eventually from Canada moved down to Texas. So been around, but I've been in Texas for a long time now.
Yeah, that's
Not a
cool.
native though.
Yeah, exactly. There's that kind of line, isn't there? Um, I always think that it's interesting when you've got that kind of background where it's brought you to a space and then you stay in the space, like there's a reason why
Hmm.
you end up staying. Um, Dan, what's your story?
Um, I was born in upstate New York, but I was raised in El Paso, actually.
Yeah, wow.
Uh, and El Paso's it's a weird place to be from. It's the largest border
Mhm.
city in the United States, and it's also probably representative of the largest economic disparity between two countries, where two cities
Mm.
are side by side. So El Paso, Juarez, it's a community, and it's a kind of an interesting place to be from. I came to UT for, liberal arts undeclared, and same as Alex. I just really love to draw, and I had a difficult transfer into architecture, but I made it. And it's kind of, it's one of those things where architecture for a lot of us is it's sort of a mental illness diagnosis more than it is a profession. And so once you go into that right building and you kind of like you can hear the angels singing, and next thing you know you're sitting there and you're in studio 16 hours a day because you're like, oh, I could do this. I could spend
Yeah.
my life doing it. So So here we are now. Alex and I, like
Yeah.
Alex said, we've been partners for a while now. We've been working in Austin. Austin's gone through a big building boom in the last 25 years. And it's one of the reasons why I stuck around. Like, one of the things is when you're working on architecture in bigger cities is you end up doing a lot of interior architecture where your contribution towards the general uh, shape of the city is very limited because those buildings are they're hard to access.
Yeah,
And
right.
when I started working in Austin, I had that chance to start designing and I've been working on houses for 20 years now. And it was like, wow, I could be part of this city's growing. We have a creative culture. We have it's not too expensive, so people can afford to build these houses. And so this is a great place for an architect. And I really don't think there's a better city to be in the United States and maybe even in the world for residential practice than Austin, Texas for what's happened here in the last 20 years. So this is a great place to be in order to really experiment and be part of that change.
I really resonate with what you said there. You know, like I started coming to Austin, goodness, I know 10 or more years ago, and I just came. Well, I came for the music and the food is actually why I came. And just I was traveling with a friend and we kind of went, that'd be a fun place to go. And I'd been before, but years before that. And I picked up Austin Holmes magazine as I was leaving and saw that the following weekend there was this tour on. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'd been driving around looking at houses. I'd walked onto a few building sites even, just because it's what you do. And
Right.
I I picked up the magazine and I went, okay, so cool. I'll just book in and come back next year. And I did, and that started it. And that thing about being in a space that wasn't so big, 1 million odd people, that wasn't so big and so hard to get around that you couldn't get to see things and you couldn't get to go to places that you would, and you were seeing this level of architecture that was world class in a town that's a small town. And the aesthetic and the thinking that was there, it's some of the best residential architecture that is that in a small space that you could go and see anywhere in the world. And that was how I ended up just keeping coming back on the tour, keeping coming back over and over. I mean, it's the fifth time I think I've done the podcast for the tour as well. So it's the most incredible residential architectural city for, I'd say, modern architecture that you could probably go to.
Right.
It, you
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
such a bunch of talented architects. It draws so many great talented architects as well. Um, and like you guys were saying earlier, part of being on the tour is about supporting what the AIA Austin has built and what Ingrid's pulled together to make this tour so incredible. So,
Absolutely. I don't know if the public knows that it is a fundraiser for AIA Austin, and it's a great fundraiser. It's a great privilege for us to be involved in a way that helps to raise money for an excellent organization. And the
mm,
AIA Austin's outreach is it's second to none.
yeah.
So we look at it as just being this like we just love being part of it. It's our turn to spin the wheel. So yeah, we look forward to having as many people come by and visit with us. Like Alex, I'll be hanging out by the pool and Alex will be in the kitchen and we just love to talk to people about what we do.
He'll be making the cocktails and you'll be drinking them. Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta
Am I
take
so
turns by the pool.
transparent?
It's nice out there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so with Hummingbird House, Casa Calibria, Calibri,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Colibri.
Calibri. With Hummingbird House, what was the brief? How did this project even come about? What neighborhood is it in? And how did it fall in your lap?
I think the brief, generally speaking, actually, this is a funny. Oh my gosh, you just asked a question that made me remember something that contradicts what I said earlier. We actually did get this house through the we were on the 2019 home tour, and we had known the client before, and that project sealed the deal for doing this project. That's right. So he
Wow.
had toured, he went on the 2019 tour and he interviewed us for the tour. And Justin Kreitzel, he's a builder here in town, and his construction company is Hudson Design Build. And as you'll see, it's an excellently built building. He did an amazing job with the craft, and we can talk about that more later. But we when we interviewed with Justin, I think the main idea he had some preconceptions earlier on, and I think that Justin is he is an architect's builder, and he appreciates architects and design. And so I think at some point he just kind of knew we were going to like go on this journey together. And so we did, and one of the most important things to Alex and I is that we really love integrating our buildings in the site.
Hmm.
And this, for whatever reason, I feel like we've been on this like murder's row of sites over the last like 6 or 7 years, where we have these like topographies that are quite difficult. And so, of course, this was another typical topography house, and we really like to engage
Easements and setbacks and protected trees and just like
your easement,
every
right?
aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Love it.
we really like to integrate it into the site as well as we can, and I mean like physically integrate.
Mm.
I don't mean like mimicking the houses surrounding. And so something that Alex and I do quite a bit is we love to do like the sort of cut and fill homes where we kind of bring the house into it, and that stems from the fact that we just are really into indoor outdoor and having like having a true connection. And when you have a lot of topography, indoor outdoor is harder to achieve because generally speaking, like the most generic versions of it are that you come out high and you come in high and you come out high and you're
Hmm.
detached from the ground. And that's
Hmm.
a strategy we see a lot. It just doesn't, it's not interesting to me. It's not sexy. And what I like to do when we design these together is that create a boundary where you come in through the building and the building is slowly through thresholds and tactility revealing itself. And so this house does this cool thing where the experience of the home and what the yard is like in the rear is nothing like the home. And in the home itself, you can see it as a boundary threshold that creates the opportunity for the rear yard to be as
Ah.
impactful and amazing as it is. And so we have this sort of hermetically sealed terrarium, which is the house. So the wall creates a boundary. I spent a lot of time traveling through Central and South America, doing a little backpacking. And one of the things I love about Mexican homes was that I got invited into many of them as through friends that I would make. Is that you had no idea what was behind those walls, and like
Yep.
once you got in and you were accepted in, then all of a sudden it was just like the craziest stuff was unfolding and how beautiful it was. That like water features and gardens, and so we entered through a courtyard. We step you down. The courtyard becomes a platform to step down. Then there's an entry platform. We step down. Then there's the house itself that steps down. And then from there, it steps you down. You get a peek at the yard.
Yeah,
It has
wow.
beautiful pool in like in like sort of a tea house in the back. And it brings you experientially, slowly brings you in through the home. So I think that's something that's really where we vibed out on in terms of like, hey, how can we make this happen? And we went through a lot of versions. I think we talked about this with you earlier. You're an architect too, so you know. We went through a lot of versions of this house, but every one of them was site integrated. Every single
Yeah,
one of them,
yeah,
that's designed from section, how the building works through sectionally through the site to create the experience that slowly brings you down. And
mm,
we're not going to give you like a flight of stairs first, like boom, down, and then do a
yeah,
flat. It's
yeah,
more like
yeah.
four stairs, four stairs, four stairs, that kind of thing. So
Beautiful. Just
yeah, it's just really, really cool
yeah,
to do.
not trying to just take you to a level and then just lay everything out. Just let you transition. When you get in a home like that, it's very much an adventure. It unfolds and it guides you. It just gently shapes your journey. So when we turn up at this home, we're going to be on the street, can park somewhere, walk down the road. We're probably going to come up the driveway, I'm imagining, just depending on how the guys set it up for us to go in.
Right.
I've got some photos that we chose, that we can share. Maybe take us on sort of this journey with, I'll share the photos and take us on the journey of, like what you just described of how this house unfolds, but these little magical moments that we've got from in it. One of the things you were saying about Justin, from Hudson Design Build, something that, a big shout out to guys like him is when you think of the hours and hours and hours and soul and love that you pour into a design to create it. And then you get to put it into the hands of a craftsperson who has the same love for it. It's like it's like they've honored you, even though they're just honoring their part of the job, but they've honored the work that you've done as well to get it to that next thing.
I'd like to just interrupt this to say this is that like I feel like Justin and his team deserve some design credit in this project because he employed draftsmen on his team to help work through details. And there's something that really good contractors do where they know they can read the intent in the drawings, but they're having a hard time bridging the gap between
Hmm.
the intent of the design and like
Hmm.
what are the site truths, the ground truths, so to speak. And so Justin had a draftsman on there. They were doing these things and they were 3D modeling it and drafting them out. They were doing prototypes. So they were doing the right sort of things that it takes in order to achieve the level of detail that this house exhibits. And I really don't want anybody to miss that. I want them to the reveals. He's got baseboard reveals, ceiling reveals. The staircase is exquisitely assembled. And then when you walk through, you'll see that like there's like a level of detail where like there wasn't like a finish edge. Like everything is really thought through how they come together. And so I really see it as like in a way I see it as a loose design build collaboration between us and Justin and his team. And I think they just did such an amazing job out there. And I really want to give credit where credit's due. In terms of like how the house is viewed from the street, I think the house has a very symmetrical, which is
I'm going
not
to
a normal
share
thing.
it.
Has a very symmetrical and stately kind of single point perspective view. The lower portion of the building is a German schmear masonry wall, and the idea that Alex and I had for that was that this wall was emerging from the site in order to carve out sort of this like space of sea.
Hmm.
Something else that someone will notice when they visit the site is they're going to see John Garrett. John Garrett's is a landscape designer here in town. They're going to see his amazing
Yeah.
landscaping. His landscape placement is it's pretty epic. Like he does a lot of this, like he gets a vibe and he knows where he's going, but he does a lot of like in situ site placement where he's really feeling it through what's going on site. So you're going to see this like well manicured garden. The trees are crowned up well, so they're sinewy and light to not block the building. And the building has sort of a stateliness that is like that that is not I don't really know if it's like a welcoming sort of stateliness. And I think that the way that it sort of sits and that you get it coming through the door means it's even more welcoming once you see the transparency of what happens after the entry.
So it almost presents itself like, if you're not on YouTube, come and have a look at this home on YouTube. It's absolutely beautiful. But it almost presents itself like you said that it's a facade. It's not a fortress front, but it doesn't give you a lot. It
Right,
intrigues you because you can see that there's something, but it's not actually showing off everything. Here I am.
right.
It's asking a little bit of you to come and find it.
It's a
And
private home, and
yeah,
and also for private people. And like, yes, there are some homes where they're more on display,
yeah.
but so the kind of cool thing about this and how it relates to sort of Mexican vernacular sort of townhomes, like my grandparents' home in Mexico, is
Hmm.
that once you get through that door, you enter in through a front courtyard. And the courtyard, this is actually a really cool thing. Like I know you practice in Australia. Our ambient light is north, your ambient light is south. So one of the cool things about this courtyard is this courtyard's on the northern side for us. And so it gets the indirect light. What ends up happening is the courtyard itself ends up becoming a light reflector to like push light back into the northern side of the house. So it looks like this brutal move, but it's actually a light balancer. So it's like really it's really a cool kind of thing from the inside when you get inside the home to see how even the light is uh
So So once
considering
you once you come into that courtyard, this would be a moment of pause. So when you're arriving at the place, you're going to come in, come through the front entry, and if you can get to stand back and look at this house from across the road, certainly this photo we've got now, it'll demonstrate this. And then when you come into the home, take the time. depending on, well, it won't matter what time of the day it is, because as you said, the way it's situated in the home, it's being the light balancer. And take the time to experience that. Have just pause as you walk through and take that piece in about how the architecture is actually being informed by nature and it's informing the house, like that piece. It's integrated. Yeah, it's beautiful. Um, and I love the point that you made about the landscaping as well, because I've seen all the photos. I haven't had the pleasure of being here yet, but
Right.
I've seen all the photos. And certainly with Rob, when he was photographing it, he was like, oh, this has got a next level landscaping. Like the whole feeling of the place, but the landscaping works so beautifully into it. And again, another creative part of the team, obviously, like it made it come
Yeah, I
together.
think it's got some amazing contrast and just the softness and the movement of
Mm,
the landscape and kind of raw, organic, and natural it feels, and then sort of the very solemn masses of the stone behind. And
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful contrast.
So not everybody's going to get to see this house at this time of the day where the lights are on and it's got this beautiful moodiness like this. It'll be interesting as the light changes across the facade of it, because it's always going to be dappled with tree light as well. Either you're going to see through the trees like this at night, or you're going to have the light dappling down as well. So it will shift and change in its hue and tone and how it feels in there a lot. This is a
Yeah,
beautiful
I think the
photograph.
trees are such a big piece of the site. I think
Yeah.
there's something around 40 trees on the site, and
Oh,
part of
really?
that brief that we did originally get was not to take down any trees.
Right.
So
Right.
like it was a very complicated jigsaw puzzle
I
to
was
sort of
about to say
get
so
in
that
there without crowding the trees, and yeah, that was
exactly. They're
very.
living on a path. They're living on a path
Mhm.
between the trees. Yeah, it's
Well,
like that's all we could do, man. There's 40 trees.
there was a pre-existing home on the site, but it was like it's kind of a fascinating house where you think that like at some point they were building homes where developers could just take a plan and stamp it on these beautiful sites.
Yeah.
And so the house that was on here was completely, it was like having an out-of-body experience relative to its relationship with the site. It had nothing to do with the site in any way. And you had to
Yeah,
step up to it. It was like a track home that you had to step up to. And then you would get into this living room, and then you were, like 12 feet off the ground in the back.
Yeah, right.
And no
couldn't
connection to the rear
access
yard.
the back at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what site? What site?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, like when you're that high up, your horizon line is pulled so high that you don't even look at your yard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
You-
something we were really trying to do. And so this image right here kind of displays the rear. This is the rear yard,
Hmm.
and the entry would be actually sort of, it would correspond to the very center of the glass where you see that curtain. It would be on the other side of that where you would
Right.
actually come.
So
you
directly
could actually
through.
see you could see through the
Yeah.
living room there. You could see the box window
Yes.
Uh-huh.
beyond. So like that is more like street level up above.
And that's the light
Gotcha.
reflecting, actually, Adrian. So
Hmm.
like what
Hmm.
Alex is doing
Yeah,
right there,
Where
it's
my
actually
cursor
doing the.
is.
It is
Yeah.
a
yeah.
it is a light catcher, so it is actually grabbing the light. That is not like that's actually the southern wall, the southern portion of the northern wall is shooting light back into the home. So
Th-
it
That
works as a
reflect.
reflector.
I like
Yeah.
that. I love that. I love the fact that it's like pulling it in and then also releasing you back to the outdoors as
Yeah.
you go through, that makes the house, again, like you said, very indoor, outdoor, very, very connected. This landscape piece here, what else is in the backyard? And where does somebody come? Let's say they've come through the house. Is
Yep.
this the back of the yard as far down as they can go and they look back up?
No, actually, so if they're coming through the house, you see the left three planes of glass,
Mm-hmm.
left three
Mm-hmm.
panes of glass. They would come in through there. There's a porch, and the porch actually has a fully concealed screen. It goes the full length, about 20 feet long, drop down screen. You
Oh,
can see a
wow.
little black line at the ceiling.
Yeah,
So
just here. Yeah.
yeah, and
Hmm.
Austin, look, here's the thing about Texas in terms of like we're not California, so the indoor outdoor that we really like is we like screen porch indoor outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
this sort of move, Justin pulled it off expertly. Like nobody will even know it's there. And the iron, you got to be scary even when it's down, because like if you got you get a couple of martinis and you're on the porch, like you might go through it. Completely invisible the way that he's got it trimmed out. Like you don't see.
I can see that now. And again, this is one of these things that come when you're in this house, have a look at this detail of how it's done, because it's a piece of genius. It's like the line, I can see the line in the sidewall too now that you've said it,
Yeah,
but
there it
it
is. Yeah.
it just goes away. It's like, it's there when you need it, it's not there when you don't need it, you know?
And so what you would come in through there. There's a double-sided fireplace. It's actually from a New Zealand company. That I think about it, you may have used it in the past before. They actually came by to look at it, the install for it. Anyhow, you come through there and then you slowly step down more, so you can see how there's more steps
Yeah.
after the patio and down and down and down. We're
Yeah.
standing at right now where this photo is taken. We're at the lowest point of the yard, and to our right there'd be a swimming pool, and behind us would be a tea house.
Oh, lovely. Yeah,
And the
right.
yard it starts to actually go back up at this point. So
Yeah,
we're at the
it's
lowest point, but then it begins to crawl back up into
Right. So
the
so this
corner by
is
the
like a
pool is actually
valley.
the second highest
that's
point.
right.
Yeah, it's a valley.
Yeah,
And it's actually
cool.
there's an easement through the valley.
Oh, okay. Just to make it more difficult to build on. Yeah.
Mhm.
40,
Something else I'd
40,
like to
40 trees in an easement.
I just want to point out this other thing is that the this is a weird thing to say. The design for the building, like the building itself, is supposed to like it hasn't reached its evolved state yet.
Mhm.
So when Alex and I and Justin, the way we selected the cladding is that we're actually going for the silvered version of that cladding. It's intentionally silvering. So right now it still has the initial sort of staining,
Yeah.
but the cladding itself is heading towards the silvering. And I don't think by the time this tour will have happened, it'll have reached it yet. And so it's something that we designed toward is,
Mhm.
we want that look. We're going there, and we have like a patterning that only becomes really evident once it silvers more. But it's
Oh,
something for people to keep in mind if they're not that much experience with architecture, is that like the best, sort of the best architecture, or even like I like old things,
yeah.
like old things with a patina where they're maintained but
Hmm.
patinaed, not just
Hmm.
like brand new. That's
Hmm.
like the real cool stuff, man. When you see like a classic Porsche and it's never been restored, someone took care of it the right way, but it's a little bit faded. You can see where the leather is like fading, or someone uses it, and the grip on the
Yeah.
steering wheel. That to me is like it's meant to be worn in, right?
I, I always think it creates another piece of the story, the chapter of that story, let it wear in and let it be. Just let it, as you say, well looked after, but let it just age gracefully. Let it just become a part of its environment. Let things grow up around it. Let it, you know, in 100 years, long after we're all gone, you'd like to think that this is still sitting in this space. And it may have been renovated a bit and changed a
Right.
bit and all the rest, but the bones of it and all the rest of it are just still being in that space. And the layer of the history, the families that have been in it, the way it's been
Right.
used, just all that soul that gets built in. I'm with you, like let it patina, let it just age gracefully. Look after it, care for it. And I think that old Porsche analogy, or any classic car like that hasn't been
Right.
polished within an inch of its life. It's just been a part of life. Yeah, there's something magical.
Yeah,
Magical.
they're meant to be used. After all, it's a home. It's not supposed to be.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
meant to be used. Yeah.
Um, Talking about being used, this staircase, so I've just swapped the photo to the staircase. I remember talking this staircase with Rob, the photographer, and he said I'd never been in a home with such detail that was done here, just the perfection of the detail and the way it worked. He was blown away with the credit, giving credit to the builder on it. But yeah, take us through this. And I love the stepping up again, the big steps to the smallest, to the actual staircase, and then that it's held all the way through as well.
So I think there's something just to point out at the beginning here is that this is another similar to the reflector off the front wall. This is another move, large move to bring light into the center of the house because one, the house is dug in and semi-solid across the front because of the siding, and two, there's so much landscape and tree coverage there. Getting light into the center of the house became kind of an important part. So this became both a function and like a feature. Like this is going to be your primary way to circulate up and down. You're going to experience the space as a visitor, as a homeowner, daily. Uh, Making it special is like, and celebrating like this moment, bridging the ground floor solidity in the upstairs sort of floating box is how to make it special. And I think this stair really came together amazingly the way Justin built it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail to go into making it so simple.
I want to say there's something a little bit of like a pet peeve of mine is are just like skylights that are just popped in ceilings. And this skylight is placed very carefully where the light comes through to hit this wall. So we're looking at the reflector wall. So this is on the northern side of the building, but it's the southern side again, like Alex is pointing out, relative to the front wall.
Yeah.
And it receives the light and it pushes it back in. And a pet peeve of mine is if it was just like a ceiling with a skylight in the hole, like a skylight hole,
Yeah.
how it doesn't you need to place the light somewhere for it to be good. You want to reflect, you need a reflector for light.
Yeah.
You want to bounce the light off of something. So that's what this staircase is doing. It's another reflector to bring the light into the center of a big, otherwise like a big boxy building, you know?
Yeah. I think it's a great distinction, eh? Like whether we're using sunlight or daylight. And in this case, you're using daylight to be for how it's going to bring the light into the building rather than
Right.
just sunlighting it. Just boom, like you're under the sun. And then this it creates a whole softness in the shadows as well, and the way that the staircase reveals itself.
And
I think that
just to interrupt you on this, I
this
think it's also really important to point out that like Justin and his team really nailed the reveals on this. When you come out to see this, you got to see these like little like inch reveal all across on either side of the staircase on the steps. So he's got this little inch reveal. It's on a slope, so you can like obviously easily clean it. So it
Yeah.
doesn't it's not a stepping reveal. And yeah, I mean like they him and his team they really nailed this. They really nailed this piece and.
I think even from selections point of view, I think they did a great job here too, because the light, the hanging lights that go through the space, they're beautiful to begin with, but they also have the height and volume and they're organic, almost like the landscape elements that are outside and the house, which has its sort of more regular
More
symmetries.
formal. Yeah.
They're doing the same thing here, and playing with the light. It's beautiful.
It,
Oh, and
it,
the floor is also a marvelous thing, which it's kind of even hard to make out from here, but like it's this wonderfully book matched travertine, hand
mm,
selected from Italy in giant blocks that was installed just so meticulously across here. It's just a beautiful contrast. Travertine
yeah.
is such a beautiful material to begin with.
I think we're going to see that in the next image. But like Justin, Justin and his wife went to Italy, selected all the limestone. Sorry, excuse me, the travertine. So all the travertine comes from the same quarry, the same shipment, the same sort of cut in the
Mhm.
quarry. And it's countertops, it's vanities, it's the flooring on the first floor. They used it. They used it well.
Yeah. This is like a piece of furniture that's, a meticulously built piece of craftsman's furniture that's popped into a house here. It's way more than a staircase. I think the biggest shame of it being on 2 days of a tour is getting it without somebody in it or on it. Like there'll be it's a central circulation space, so
Right.
it'll be a busy spot, and there is beyond craftsmanship in here. So you might not get to stand back and look like you can in this photo to take it all in. And I imagine the feel of it's incredible as well. Here's where we've got more of that travertine in this bathroom. Take me through this picture, what's happening here, apart from that amazing window.
I think that the tub itself that you see in the center there was carved, designed. Justin and Catherine worked with the travertine company and designed this tub, and then they milled this tub out of a solid block of travertine. And I think you have to recognize like this tub, by the time it came into the house, had to come in through that window. In front of that window, you'll see another collection of 20 trees. So like this was being craned vertically in, which is like another just labor of love. And without some attention to detail, that would not have worked out. But the tub is amazing. It's so smooth. It's so
Mm.
geological, just the travertine in general is, but just invites you to want to like, live in that tub with that beautiful tree outside.
The whole setup is just stunning. And like I knew there was a story to getting it in here from talking with Ingrid and Rob. And with that, I was like, yeah, the window itself is spectacular and the way it sets the room, but the functionality of the fact that the tub had to come through the hole is also another part of the story. It would have been a beautiful piece to make a documentary of, of building and the thoughtfulness that has to go from, the pencil all the way to the crane and the
Right.
positioning.
Mhm.
And somebody in Italy, we're saying, no, it's X size because everything's set up to make it work this way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
it's
the window has a photovoltaic. I don't know if that's how you call it. You do
switch
the
on,
switch.
switch off. Yeah,
Yeah, it turns white.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is
which
something
is
that
good.
you would need for this in order to not have to have the curtain or,
Hmm.
like, it gives you the ability to modulate the use of the space at different times of day.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. And yeah, the travertine just keeps giving, doesn't it? This one here, I know we chose this photo just before because of the fact again of this craftsmanship with the travertine. This home is all about these fine, fine details as well as the overall design. But the draw fronts here in the travertine.
Yeah, I think I'd like to speak directly to the audience in this case to say that Adrian tasked us with pointing things out in the home that y'all might miss while you're walking through the site. And I think that the site strategy is going to be relatively obvious and you're going to see the landscaping and understand how the building creates space. But I think there's like this certain level to what Justin and his team brought to this that you may not get a chance to see because they're not gonna let you touch the drawers, to be honest.
Yeah,
So you got to see that like here's a building where somebody took a lot of they really took a lot of time to do it right, and that you can see the little finger pole that's carved out of the travertine, and that vanity, like, see, you have to see it in person to see how amazing it is and how well it's done. But and again, this is what Alex was talking about. Like one of the things about Justin and his hospitality background is that this thing lives like like a five-star hotel vanity. Like when you actually see how the tray is set in place, and there's a little
mhm.
recession in there so that it receives the water and naturally drains it all towards the sinks that were also carved
The
out of the sink.
travertine. Yeah,
It's just one of these things, like, for guys like Alex and I to get a chance to work on a house where someone's going to take it, dial it to 11. Like,
yeah,
you gotta do it, right? You say yes. So
yeah, absolutely.
Justin delivered. They delivered on their promise to dial it to 11.
For the absolute extreme architectural detail nerds, this is going to be your home. This is going to be the place that you're just going to get lost in the beautifulness of detail. It's just, and the precision of it. Like, I don't know what Justin does to get all his guys in line to make this stuff work, but he must be the most fabulous boss, because everybody's working, as you said, dialed to 11, to
Yeah, they did.
create
And
this.
well,
Yeah.
he did these things that, a lot of people don't know that, well, you got to start early to get it right late. And so he used
Mm,
LSI framing, which is all the framing that's engineered and assembled so it's straight. So it's not stud framed like most normal houses, or even selectively stud framed or selectively LSI framed. It's all LSI. He did it all straight. They checked all the walls to make sure they were straight before the plaster went on and the doors. So you can see the door unit, you can see it reflected in here.
yeah.
These are solid oak doors. And most homes aren't like that. They're solid core or solid panel in some way, but this is a solid oak door. And you really want that door to go in a straight wall because the door itself, the trim on it, there's no tolerance for that.
Yeah.
The door has to line up on edge and be flush with the wall surface. There's no tolerance for it to be handled with a trim or, coming
Yeah.
in and out of,
Yeah.
I just want to give Justin and those guys their due for what they pulled off over there.
Yeah.
I,
It's
I think,
precision craftsmanship.
and I think you hit the nail on the head there too. I think everyone that was involved in this project in the installation side of things has a good deal of like pride in this project.
Yeah.
And I think it just kept elevating, just feeding back in, just like,
Right.
oh, well, can we do it better? Uh, and I think it shows.
Yeah.
Just to Alex's point, what like oftentimes when we're there, there'll be and Justin's very generous about this. There'll be a subcontractor who worked on it, walking someone through the house to show them, like, oh, we did
Yeah.
these cabinets or whatever, you know.
Like
So
I brought
that's
my
a good
girlfriend
feeling,
over to show this off because we were so
right?
proud of this project. So it's like, oh, cool. You
Do you
worked on it
know,
too? Oh, yeah, so did I.
but isn't that just like when a home gets another level of soul because it's filled with the love of everybody who put their love and sweat and tears into it, not just doing a job, doing something extraordinary. And you're leaving legacy behind when you do that. You're leaving that whole legacy piece behind of what the house is and can be, and what a home can be, because it's still lived in. It's
Yeah.
still, it's a home. It's beautiful. Guys, that was fantastic. It's certainly a house to spend a bit of time in and to take the time to examine that from the landscape point of view, right from the street, and then the way that the site's shaped and the way that the landscaping's formed and the way that the house ventures you through that. And remember that there's 40 trees because 40 trees were
Right.
that's a lot of trees that you're dancing around, and there's a lot that you had to dance around to make this project work in the space as well, with the site, and forming the house, but keeping it in touch with nature. Yeah, hummingbird house. Yeah, that really speaks to me. I think it's beautiful. So cool. So cool. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Adrian, it's been a real
Thank you for
pleasure having this
yeah.
opportunity to talk to you, and
Yeah,
we look forward to meeting you in person.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to that as well. We'll see you soon. So I hope you've really enjoyed that. And if you'd like to stick around for about another 5 or 10 minutes, you can hear what Rob Gomez, the photographer who took the photos of all these homes, has to say about this particular home. And he's joined by Ingrid Spencer, the director of the AIA Austin, and their comments are really fascinating how they viewed these homes, much like the public would. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Take care. This house is really, really special. I can see why it's on the tour. Ingrid, why'd you put this house on the tour? Let us know. Tell us
It,
why.
like you say, it is a really special house. It's very sculptural. The architect is Ravel Architecture, which is two fellas. They are brilliant. It has a real treehouse feel. We talked about the stealth house and how you don't want to go outside. This one, you do want to go outside because it's got that courtyards and the light coming in from outside. This one is in Barton Hills,
Hmm.
and it's got the tree house, but it's got a limestone base. It's very sculptural, and it's got kind of that terrarium feeling to it. Very beautiful detailing, sculptural materials. Some of the artwork in this house is to die for. The furniture pieces, the people that live here are very well traveled, and it shows. So it's just a phenomenal piece of architecture, and the way that people live in it is a phenomenal lifestyle that you'll get to experience when you walk through.
Yeah, I can see as is, from the photo here, there's detailing that is so thoughtful and so beautiful. And as you said, like if they're very well traveled, there's story behind story behind story of how they have interacted to get to this um, level of detailing and the beauty of it. Rob, with the light, it looks like it's absolutely filled with daylight.
Yeah, yeah, it is. This had a skylight as well right above it, that had these sort of like I don't know, I had never heard of them before, but it's these sort of LED, I guess, like screens where you can filter where it can look clear, but you can press a button and it has like a white film, I guess, that goes over it. And for privacy, I guess they have them throughout other windows as well. But in this case, it was maybe to soften some of the light. But yeah, this was a super cool house to shoot. And it was one of these where, again, the weather wasn't really cooperating with us on this day, but I talked to Dan, one of the guys at Ravel, and he was like super gung ho. Like, I think this house would look cool on an overcast, rainy day. I say we go for it. And yeah, I mean, I was very happy with how the final images came out with like very, very soft light everywhere kind of in the house. And again, as the two of you have already mentioned, like the attention to detail in and craftsmanship of everything of regarding like the design elements here. How I'd mentioned briefly, like I really learned during the shoot because the owner was the builder as well on this house.
Oh, okay.
So he talked to me a lot about this and just how much work really went into getting every sort of detail right and making sure that everything came out how he wanted it to, I guess. Because I suppose you can design something, but like, can you actually build it and make it look
Functional
how,
and beautiful.
right, functional? And that, and like just as Ingrid was saying, that the travertine that they brought in, I think they said like from Italy, there was so many thousands and thousands of like panels. You'll see it throughout in some of the other images later, but like their whole like pool is lined in it, like all their bathrooms, they just have it everywhere. And again, one of the guys that was there that works with the owner was telling me just how in detail he had to be with the people that were cutting out these panels of travertine, and you have to make it like the grain go with this, and it has to match perfectly this, and oversee every last detail. And obviously it really shows. So I just think
It looks like to me the precision and the ability to work with natural and also with, the precision of the architecture is executed at such a high level. And it's often with a home, you don't get to see all these levels of things and how they come together until you get into a house like this, and you need a comparison of something else that doesn't have this extreme level of detailing. When you said the builder is the owner, I go, right, I get it. And with the well-traveled piece, they're living inside a piece of art as well as having their art collection, as well as it being a very comfortable home. I think that's very privileged position to be in, and also something of that's very passionate. It shows the passion of the owners and the passion of the builder to actually execute as well. It's awesome. Love the travertine as well. What else have you got?
This again, fun one. I love the soft light coming through. I like the again, I love animals, and there were plenty in this house. I think they had one cat and two dogs. And I had alternate versions of this one with the little dog on the bed, but I don't know, the inner critic in me, I couldn't decide, so I sent them both, but I think I like this one feels like cleaner to me. You have the cat kind of just sitting there on the perch. You almost don't even see it at first.
Mhm.
And again, just with this trend of tree houses, this is like your kind of bedroom being surrounded by trees and just kind of give that feeling of nature. I can just imagine waking up there and just first thing you see is nature out the window and everything. And yeah, this was just a really fun one.
It is so beautiful, and again, up in the trees, and then the seamlessness of the windows. I love the fact you got the cat in the photo as well, because it's just more of the family, more of what the house does. What other ones do you have?
The last one here is just to kind of give an idea of the exterior,
Mm,
bit of the what was Ingrid was talking about of just again super amongst the trees, and also you'll see it fully in other photos where you get the full view of it, where the landscape for this house was really beautiful as well, and just like the full landscape architecture and design of it and how everything is placed, and like the paths to walk up to the house and down to the so where I'm from would be like their little pool house, and then the pool over to the right there, and then we're looking at the main house. But just the design
yeah.
throughout was just again with this followed this pattern of very high level of attention to detail, and everything is intentional, everything has a purpose in the space,
Yeah.
and this house really felt that way almost everywhere you looked.
It's pretty fabulous when you're landscaping, you know, actually you take your natural landscape and they've got those beautiful trees and then nestling the house into them. So it's got that intimacy of it. So, and the scale of it under the trees. And then, having a landscape that's been curated or thought out. Um, I always think of the fact that like a golf course, when you go to a golf course, it's actually decided for you to give you the best journey within the landscape. And this looks like that as well, as you said. And the fact that the house is substantial, but it's still got this beautiful intimacy with the trees, I think is fabulous. And the materiality as well. Really cool.
Yeah.
Ingrid, is this as a home on the tour? How would you describe it in relation to the other homes?
Hmm. I just think, if we're always looking for a range, a lot of different things. It's so different from Stealth House, so different from the side angle side house. It's just so unique in its sculpturalness and the way that it interacts with the site and the landscape. Just
Yeah.
another beautiful experience for people to have.
And this one, there'll be a queue to get in, but the queue probably will be able to be accommodated a lot quicker because of the size of the home. Um,
It's big for sure.
I'm really keen to meet the guys from Ravel and
Oh,
understand the journey of
yeah.
this place. Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. They're cool guys.
Fabulous. Thank you for tuning into our conversation. I hope it left you both informed and inspired. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen, and please don't hesitate to share your design thoughts with me. It's always a joy to hear from you. If you're like me and crave a deeper dive into design thinking, coupled with a love for travel and adventure, consider one of my architectural adventures. Join me and some of my wonderful design friends and embark on a journey of a lifetime. Apply for an unforgettable design experience at adrianramsey.com. With our clients spanning the globe, I firmly believe behind every great project are great people. If you're a great person and seeking to turn your dream into a reality, I'd be honored to design your home with you. Why not join the ranks of our exceptional clients and let's make your heart sing? Reach out to me at studio@ardesignhouse.com. That's studio@ardesignhouse.com, and let's get a conversation going and make your heart sing.